Welcome in. I'm Primster Rippapal alongside our NFL insider Mark Dominik with your ESPN headline. When you hear that a colleague of yours is making way more money than you, do you let it go or do you let it get to your head? Well, Eagles quarterback Nick Foles says he's not worried about what other QBs are making, including Colin Kaepernick. He's focused on performing and winning games. Mark, as a former GM, how much do you think other players' contracts affect a certain player?
Well, I can tell you this. It always affects.
Really?
I mean, it's one of those things, it's on your mind nonstop. And it's not just at a player. I've seen it from the coaching, front office, every aspect. Because we live in a world that, your contracts only last for so long and you only get maybe one bite at that apple. So the reality is every player sits around and thinks about that next contract, except probably about a year or two into that first original contract they signed. But that's something that's always in the back of their head. And it can't be because you're getting hit from your agents talking to you about it a little bit. You've got family members that may be talking about it. And then you've got that locker room that's sitting there. When a new contract comes out, everybody in the locker room jumps together and they start looking at it, dissecting it. And they all want to talk about how much money Colin Kaepernick's making. But Nick Foles is handling this the right way. Publicly he's coming out and saying it's not a distraction. He's not going to think about it. But the truth is what he says. But it is still something that you think about a lot.
So Kaepernick, let's talk about some numbers here. He signed a 6-year, $110 million deal, a record $61 million in guaranteed money. That means next year, Cap is going to make a little over $13 million as opposed to Foles, who's going to be making $600,000. How much do you think Cap's contract is going to affect future contracts for quarterbacks?
Well, I think significantly. And I think you've got a lot of quarterbacks that are starting to line up. Obviously, we're talking about Foles, but then you've got Andy Dalton in Cincinnati that's going to come up. Soon enough, Russell Wilson's going to be available. So these contracts that are going to come to these young quarterbacks are only going to continue to grow because as an organization, as a general manager, that's the most important position on the football team. And if you have one, you cannot let them out the building. And so you're really at the mercy of the agent. And so the sooner sometimes you can do a deal like they did with Colin, maybe there's a discount you can have or the structure can work out in your favor so you can get that player locked up long term so you know that you have the most important element locked up for your football team.
So Foles isn't eligible to sign an extension from his rookie year until after the 2014 season. That's according to the new collective bargaining agreement. Keep it logged on to ESPN.com. We'll obviously keep you updated with this story.